I almost didn't film this week. When the world feels heavy, creating can feel frivolous. And all I wanted to do was curl up with a cat and feel all my feelings. And I did do that. And when I did that, I realized a lot of people feel this way too. So I do want to talk about it. I'm Deanna, and here on the Not So Wicked Stepmother, I mostly talk about blended family life. And sometimes I feel like, who am I to sit here and talk about anything when there's so much going on in the world? And I know many of you can relate to that feeling. I think a lot of us carry this weird guilt, like if I focus on my family and my work, am I being selfish? If I laugh, am I ignoring suffering? If I create, am I being frivolous? And the truth is, caring deeply and continuing to show up in your own life are not opposites. Not only can they coexist, but caring deeply about the larger world and staying present in your daily life are actually connected. It's not frivolous to keep your light on. That becomes part of what you have to offer. Your energy, your groundedness, your kindness, what you're creating in your home has the ability to expand beyond that. And when things feel massive, the only real power I have is close to home, in my little corner. So that's where I'm choosing to start. And then from there, we can get honest with ourselves about our values and choose ways to be involved in our communities and on larger scales that are sustainable and that reflect our values. We can't do any of that. We can't help anyone if we don't start with ourselves. If we just curl up and cry about everything, we're not helping anybody. We're just feeling sad. And it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to start there. But then we have to figure out how to show up in real life. There are 3 anchors I've identified that have helped me through times like these that I will share with you today. The first one is let it be true without consuming you. So some weeks are harder, some seasons are heavier. Ignoring this doesn't help us at all. It doesn't serve us to just try to push through and pretend everything's okay when it doesn't feel okay. So I usually start by just naming, like if I feel overwhelmed, if I feel exhausted, what is going on? What is going on in my body? What is going on in my home, in my family, in the country, in the world? And usually there's layers to it, right? A lot of times our personal lives feel harder when there's things going on in the larger world that are impacting how we feel, and so that can be part of it. So I start with what's true right now. Maybe I'm scared. Maybe I'm worried about someone I love. Maybe I'm in physical pain. But we have to start there. We start, what is true for me right now? And then the next step, and this is the important part, is, okay, now that I've sort of validated my own feelings, what can I do for somebody else today? This does not mean pouring from an empty cup. This means getting outside of your own head. Well, hello, Camille. And sometimes you do just need to pet a cat. So again, I'm not suggesting to pour from an empty cup, to do something for others and ignore your own feelings. I'm saying check in with those feelings, be honest about where you're at, and then get out of your own head. Doing something kind for someone else, being thoughtful, being considerate, helps put things in perspective and helps us get out of our own head. When we're starting in this heavy place, we have an opportunity to kind of help pull ourselves out of it by putting some focus on another person, shining our light on them. And in our family life, we have a lot of opportunity to do that. I think a bonus to this is also that we're modeling for the kids, look, you can feel kind of yucky, you can feel not so great, not your best, and still show up for another human being. Your light may feel dimmer. You may wonder if it's even on. I feel like I'm working with a pretty dim light this week, but it still matters. Showing up still matters, and you can still shine that light on somebody else. Another way in which this is helpful is it invites you to connect with someone else. It's easy when we're feeling down for any reason to just feel very isolated and lonely. And so by reaching out to somebody else and putting your focus on them, you are likely to come out of the interaction feeling better too. Even if your mind goes back to a dark place or you feel like you're not fully present, it's always a good choice to connect with another human. And that leads into the next anchor that helps me. When the world feels too big to hold, I stop trying to hold it all. Most of the difference we can actually make in the world starts very small. And so I like to start with my microsphere, if you will. And so by focusing on the people in our actual lives and our families and the little things that we do every day and the difference that makes, we can get ourselves grounded so that we can figure out how we might be helpful on a larger scale. And I don't mean to turn a blind eye or think, well, that's somebody else's problem. I don't need to deal with that. I'll just stay in my little corner. I do think that it's important that we stay informed and that we care about what's going on around us on a bigger scale. That being said, it's very easy to get sort of swept up in all that and feel distracted from our actual real lives. And I'm also not pretending that a lot of that doesn't impact our actual daily lives. It does. But when we stay in a mode of just fretting and worrying and just frankly looking at news and social media and getting distracted from our own kids and our own families, we're not helping anything. We're not making a difference when we do that. So I come back to micro, and this will be very personal, but if you find yourself reacting to the same sort of thing over and over and you feel like the weight of that is heavy on you, figure out a small way you can help. So for me, I try to figure out which things are the most important to me and then figure out if there's a way that I can either donate or volunteer, again, in a very small way. And I think that small ways are much more sustainable. A lot of times when there's a big event or there's a tragedy or there's a crisis or a natural disaster, people flood to help. And that help isn't always that helpful. Sometimes well-meaning people can get in the way and cause more harm when they get involved in that way. And so I think when we think ahead of time, when we think about what is really important to me and how can I show up in a steady, consistent way, however that looks for you. And again, it's good to remember that's going to be a very personal choice. It's going to be unique to you. And one thing that I struggle with is we can't all be all the things, right? And so it's easy to feel like, well, I want to do this and I want to do that, and oh, I should help this, and oh, what do I do? And then do nothing. So this is something that I've recently revisited in my own life because I used to do a small amount of volunteering and I had stopped. And I'm now looking for ways to carve out, honestly, just like 2 to 4 hours a month, not a lot, a little bit, helping out. And so again, it's that idea of micro. I really believe if more of us did a little bit, we would make a bigger difference than when we scramble trying to help in big ways and we wear ourselves out. Or, like I said earlier, if we just sit around feeling sad, feeling upset, fretting, worrying, and doing nothing. Micro isn't meaningless. Small acts of service can add up to make a big impact. And doom scrolling isn't saving the world. And I get it. It's easy to do. And it often comes with that, well, do something feeling, and then guilt and discouragement when you don't know what to do. But again, here's my takeaway. Start teeny tiny. Start with the thing that's getting you the most upset, the thing that tugs on your heartstrings the most. I know, there's a lot of them. There's so many things to choose from. Choose one and figure out the smallest thing you can do to help, the tiniest thing that you can do. Choose that tiny thing, follow through with it, and continue to be present in your life. And remember, when you're spending time with children, that is making a difference. I can't help but think of Whitney Houston and the first line, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Yes, it's cheesy, but it's also powerful. And my stepson will absolutely call me cringe, but I just may have to blast The Greatest Love of All on the way home from school today. And that brings me to my third and final anchor I'd like to share, which is, yes, keep showing up, but it's okay to lower the bar. Consistency does not mean intensity. It doesn't need to be a masterpiece. When you're feeling emotionally drained, you can just kind of do the bare minimum, and that's okay. Accepting this helps me to stay in motion without pretending I'm at 100%. So a good example of this is recently I had a migraine and I did have to stay in a dark room for part of the day. But when I was able to emerge and come downstairs, I still needed to take it easy. And so, I let the kids know, and my sweet little son wanted to play Christmas and Santa Claus, and he was doing a thing where like I was the sleeping person and I could just lay on the couch. He's like, you can just lay there. I'm gonna put the presents here and then I'll just say Merry Christmas and you be excited when you open them. And so we literally played a game where I got to just lay on the couch. By lowering the bar, you're creating an opportunity to connect with your family from where you actually are right now, even if it's not at your best. So when you do the opposite of that, when you try to push it down and ignore it, you may find yourself either just kind of disconnected and not really engaging with them at all, or pushing too hard and then snapping at people because they didn't know that you were down or you were low energy or you were distracted. And sometimes that does happen, and when it does, give yourself some grace. It happens to everybody. Sometimes we're not even aware of how we're feeling until something kind of touches a nerve, and then you maybe overreact and go, whoa, what's really bothering me? What's really going on? And if you find yourself in a moment like that, you can always pivot. You can always take that information and go, okay, now I need to lower the bar. Maybe I was about to prepare a nice dinner, and instead it's going to be boxed mac and cheese tonight because that's where I am. Don't be afraid to simplify and set yourself up for success. It really is okay. So those are my 3 anchors. Number 1, let it be true without consuming you. Number 2, keep your light on and choose your microsphere. And number 3, lower the bar. That's okay. I also want to leave you with a few tools that I find helpful. The first one is to create one input boundary. So maybe decide not to check the news for the rest of the day, or only to check it up until a certain time in your evening, something like that, so that you know you're not stuck spiraling. The second would be one body connection, just a short walk or a little stretch, breath work, something that connects you back to your body. And the third is one connection, just reach out to somebody. Again, hug someone in your home or text a friend just thinking of you and sending love. I did that yesterday and it actually felt really good to just get that little heart back and know, yeah, I see you and you see me. And then the fourth one is one little output, just one little thing that you can do that will make you feel like you accomplished something. It can be teeny tiny, and it should be teeny tiny. Just remember, if you sometimes struggle just to function, you're human. You're responding to real things. There is nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with you. And if the best you can do today is show up in your home and connect with your family, trust me, that matters. That makes a difference. That's how we stay grounded and capable of helping. I hope you found some comfort or value in this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and click subscribe for more support. And if you'd like to, please share in the comments what's one strategy you use when you're feeling overwhelmed by it all. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.